Hey, what's going on YouTube and Facebook, family and friends? I have a very encouraging word that I want to share with you. It is going to help you. It is going to encourage you. And also, I would like to ask if this video does bless you to share it on other social media platforms, because I really feel that this is a now word for a lot of people. So, like I start every video, recently in a time of prayer, I was praying and I heard one word, and the word was remind. That was it, remind. And so I kind of sat there and just kept on praying. And as I was praying, I said, all right, Lord, I need you to speak to me more about remind. What do you want to remind me of? And the Lord spoke and said, my heart is to remind my children of everything that I've told them. And now this was a personal word for people, okay? It's a word that a lot of you need to dive into and go back to the place of prayer and ask the Holy Spirit, what did you speak to me about that I may have not written down, that I may have forgotten about? I didn't write it in my phone, but I forgot about it. Remind me. There's been times that I've been in the place of prayer and the Holy Spirit reminded me of something and I got super excited about it. And then I thought, wait a minute, I am so sorry, Lord. I forgot about that word and I didn't probably steward it right. I didn't write it down. I didn't pray into it. I didn't, water it with prayer every day. And what I personally like to do is whenever God gives me a promise or prophetic word or a dream or a goal or ambition, what I like to do is I like to pray over that word every single day until it comes to pass. I've had some words I've carried for years, but every day I'm speaking over them. I'm making fresh declarations and decrees and proclamations and praying over them. But a lot of times we just forget about stuff, and the Holy Spirit is so good. He will remind you of them, and it's like every time the Holy Spirit does that to me, it's almost like it is the missing piece to the puzzle. You ever been in a situation in your life and you're like, man, I feel like I'm missing something right now. Well, there's a good chance that you've already received that word from the Lord, but you may have forgotten about it. And so I just want to just share that word with you today about remind, that the Lord is going to remind you of some things. So why don't you, over the next few weeks, just spend some extra time with the Lord and make place for Him and say, all right, God, just if there's anything I forgot, I didn't write down, or sometimes God will speak to you at a place that's not real convenient. Like I remember sometimes we'll be on vacations and we'll be on the top of Pikes Peak, or I remember one time I was about ready to do an adventurous ride, and right before we took off, the Holy Spirit spoke to me, and I'm on this fast roller coaster, like locked in, about trying to grab the phone out of my back pocket. And they said, now this ride's gonna go 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds, so hang on tight. And I'm trying to get my phone out, and I said, oh, Holy Spirit, please let me remember this word. And there's a lot of times, like I'll be like in worshiping, I'll be like got my hands up, I'm worshiping, just full send in worship, and the Holy Spirit will remind me about something from 4 years ago, and I'll put my phone out and I write it down so I don't forget it again. But a lot of times we forget those things, and the Holy Spirit is so good. And also remember that He needs these words manifested in the earth. And so when God gives you something, write it down, pray over it. But God is so gracious that when we do forget about something, He will remind us. He just doesn't give that word to somebody else. And so I just want to encourage you today, go back to the Lord next time you're in prayer and allow the Lord to speak to you. Philippians 4:8. Think upon the things that are good, that are noble, that are just, that are praiseworthy. Think upon those things. And then a lot of times, in some translations, it says, and meditate on these things. So after you pray, always stop and give place for the Holy Spirit to speak. I'm not talking about 30 seconds or a minute. I mean, give Him place to speak. And you'll be amazed at how He speaks to you. And a lot of times, just in your day-to-day life, God will just give you a word. Always stop, write that word down. And like I said, God is so good and so gracious to us that He'll remind us. And that's what I felt this word was for, is to tell some people that the Holy Spirit is about to remind you of some key things that He's spoken to you about. So that's a great word of encouragement.